Welcome back to the life and times of singer and actor John English. John, you always have that ability to laugh at your own expense, and we've seen you do it time and time again.
Look, we're looking for a host for this TV charity special. Muso, some TV experience?
Drug-free.
That narrows the field. John English.
Hey, not bad. So what's Em told you?
You're putting together a charity special, right? Building a playground for some kids?
Yeah, and we'd like you to host it.
Right, sort of like those Angry Anderson things.
Yeah, well, I guess in a way the line's intersect somewhere, but, you know, whatever.
Your first son, Jonathan, is born in 1982. By the birth of your fourth child, Julian, in 84, you have 13 albums to your name. You now turn your attention back to the stage. And along with your great mate, entertainer Simon Gallagher, you reintroduce Gilbert and Sullivan to the theatre. You star as the Pirate King in The Pirates of Penzance, a role you will do many times over the next decade.
We insist on nothing.
We merely point out to you
Your duty.
And some of your pirate co-stars, Simon Gallagher, David Atkins and Tony Lamont.
Oh, God.
Simon, you and John have collaborated on...
I'm not worthy. We've been doing this for coming on 15 years, and when we started doing Pirates with David, John and I were both very heavy smokers, and it seemed to be the longer that we did the show over the years and years, the heavier we smoked. We finally came up with this pact that we would stop and we would quit. And then one day I walk in and, you know, it's driving me bananas. And I walk in and there's John with a cigarette in his mouth. And I said, hey, you've got a smoke in your mouth, what are you doing? He said, oh, mate, I really had to take it up again. My voice started to clear up.
You are one of the few people that have been able to actually fill John English's shoes, is that true?
Yeah, almost, yeah. We had a very funny situation. I was asked to understudy John as the Pirate King, or the Pirate Dwarf, as it was at the time. What happened was that I actually took the job on because John was incredibly reliable and he was never off. You know, he was always on the show, so you thought, oh, well, I thought I'll never have to rehearse because he's never going to go off. And he was never sick, although he looked like he was a lot of the time. He looked pretty cooked most of the time. But so I thought I'd do it. So we'd done the whole season in Melbourne and never missed a performance, so I thought I'm safe as houses here. We got up to Sydney, and suddenly it was a Wednesday matinee. And I come into work, you know, and I didn't do anything until the second act. I played the police sergeant, so I came on in the second half. So I got to the theatre at about 5 minutes to the curtain, and John had crashed his car the night before. And he was a bit of a petrol head at the time. And it wasn't there. And they said, well, you're going to have to go on. And I said, well, it's ridiculous. I'm completely unprepared. And besides, there's nothing that'll fit me. And so I had to fit into John's costume. So, I mean, John wore, because he worked so hard on the show vocally, he wore 2 microphones for a start and 2 packs, and that was like a 10-pound load for me. I mean, it was like just carrying the microphones. They had to roll the pants up 17 times. And John's pirate boots, which were sort of a very, you know, a signature thing for the pirate, he had thigh-high leather pirate boots. Right? So,
where were they at?
Yeah, right. So anyway... So I jump into them up to my neck. I could get my whole body in one boot. And so it was like this pirate boot that jumped out on stage. Anyway, I actually didn't do a bad job, and John found out, and he was back the next show. So
and Tony, at one stage, you and John actually made Gilbert and Sullivan your very own, didn't you?
Well, I don't know who forgot a line, but we started to ad-lib. And instead of getting into trouble from the producer, Simon, he said, no, keep it in, it got laughs. Well, we didn't need to be told a second time. Yes, you did. Oh. And there ensued for the next few months a segment that we really looked forward to. It was like verbal ping pong, and it was such a joy, and I hadn't had anything like this happen since I'd worked with Tommy Trinder, and I think he bears a resemblance to Tommy, and he's as quick-witted.
Tommy's dead, isn't he?
Not, when he was alive.
Oh, right.
But he's as quick-witted as I could. One night I said, sushi. And off he went in a routine about sushi. And when that curtain came down, God, I miss you.
Oh, I miss you too, mate. That's right, we should do it again.
Yes.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
for coming.
Good on you, Jack. There you go.
All right, in 1988, you helped us celebrate the Australian bicentennial in grand style when you performed for the Prince and Princess of Wales during their royal concert. And back in theatre, you played the lead role in Rasputin, and go on to play Huck Finn's father opposite Cameron Daddo in Big River. Now, you form a great friendship with Cameron. He couldn't make it tonight, but he sends this message from a film set in Canada.
Hey, John. Congratulations on tonight. As you can see, I've regressed into a chimney sweep. You're looking nice and clean, sitting there on the couch with Carmen sitting beside you. Thank you so much for your support and your friendship over the years. I remember walking into the #1 dressing room at the Majesty's Theatre in Sydney and you climbing up onto a couch and seeing a piece of cardboard up over the air vent and ripping it down and turning around to me and saying, "Bloody opera singers." So I knew that we had a good thing going then. I also thank you for the wee nip of John English medicine before the opening performance and the advice, which was something like, "Don't worry about tonight, mate, nobody paid." So with that, I wish you all the best. Congratulations. And it's an honour. It's an absolute honour to know you.
John, your 41st year marks two major turning points in your life. First, you become a naturalised Australian. Then, while actually filming a scene for the Flying Doctors, you're told your father has passed away. But ever the professional, you don't grieve until this scene is over.
I can cope.
Can you?
I said I'd do it. I want to.
I'll be downstairs warming you up. 9 o'clock.
How hard was it to finish that scene?
Well, I didn't want to make a fuss, and nobody knew, nobody really knew, so I just thought I'd get on with it and then go off. But the phone had rung, I suppose, about 5 minutes before. And I remember Albie, I think the wardrobe guy, was the only one that knew something was wrong. He got me a schooner glass of scotch and said, "Here, drink this." So I wandered onto the set, and there was lots of this. This is a dry set, Mr. English. And I went, "Yeah, right." So I drank it and said, "There you go." We did the scene. It was one take, because there were some good people. The director was terrific. And I just didn't want to make a fuss, because that's basically what he was about. You know? So just did it.
Someone else who shared that moment with you was your Flying Doctors co-star at the time, Tina Bursell.
Ah!
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, slightly
Thanks.
different.
Tina, as John said, not many people knew, but you knew.
I did indeed know. I was a bit wary about the alcohol and the breath, but as you said, it was a dry set, but the circumstances were very special. And something happens when two performers work together, and nothing can really come between them except the moment. And that moment was heightened, I think, by that particular, that level of emotion. So it was kind of pretty special to be able to squeeze someone and really mean it. And you were fantastic.
You're pretty good too, mate.
Thank you.
Tina,
Thank
thanks
you.
for joining us.
Okay.
Seen it.
Thanks, Tina. Well done, John. John, some of your fondest memories of your father are stories of Greek mythology which he tells you as a child. You never forget them, and along with producer David Mackay, spend the past decade creating a musical based on the Trojan Wars called Paris. And while the soundtrack sells like hotcakes and even earns you an ARIA award, it's not yet made it to the stage. Why is that?
Oh, lots of reasons, really. I just wasn't, I was too big for this and too big for that. We talked to Simon nicely, something might happen, you know.
But you'd like to get it to stage?
I'd love to, yeah.
But want it done properly, you mean?
That's the thing, yeah. It's always been close, but it's not been close enough, and something's fallen over here and it's not something you want to rush, because as soon as it gets on stage, if it fails when it's been on stage, it's failed. But at the moment, it's just a really fine album, which everyone's enjoyed, and until we can do that album justice, I don't really want to see it done.
Well, the man who has shared that dream with you all these years, David Mackay, sends you this message from England.
Hi, John. You know, we never did work out why a bright-eyed Aussie boy like I should end up in Britain, and a black-eyed pom like you should end up in sunny Australia. I guess we're the odd couple when it comes to writing as well, because we can't exactly pop next door and write a tune. We have to fly all over the world. But we did write Paris, and we had a wonderful time doing it. We've both believed in it all the way, and we won't give up until we see it on stage. I believe in the next 12 months our dream will be realised, and we'll have that opening night, and we'll be there to celebrate together. Till then, Brenda, Sarah and Brett join me in sending our love to you, Carmen, and all the children and your grandson. Have a great night.
Now, it's not long before you're back on our TV screens, and this time as a worn-out rocker in All Together Now.
Bobby!
Tracy! Well, what a pleasant surprise! And who...
Bobby, how are you? I said, how are you, Bobby?
Out of sight. I guess.
What did he say? Bobby, this is Anna and Thomas Sumner. Kids, this is the famous Bobby Rivers I was telling you about.
How are you? I'm stoked.
Hello.
Unreal. This is the best day of my life.
You don't get many visitors, do you, Bobby?
Hi, John!
Oh.
Congratulations!
John. Have a great night. Wish we could be there.
Yeah. But we're not.
Good to be all back together.
Oh,
now.
Have
a good one, mate. You're a professional.
Professional!
Cheeky babe.